Imagine this. You are a soldier in a country where mistakes are not forgiven, not with punishment, but with death. And now, you are sitting inside the cockpit of one of its most secret and most dangerous war machines. And in that moment, you make a decision. You are not coming back. This is not a movie. This actually happened. A real story where a Soviet pilot did more than just escape. He took something with him, something the world feared, an aircraft so advanced that the United States, NATO, and the entire Western world had been watching it for years, in silence, in fear. September 6th, 1976. Hakodate Airport, Japan. Air traffic controllers froze. On the radar, something was approaching. Fast, too fast. Over 2.5 times the speed of sound. No response, no signal, just silence. In the sky, was it an attack? A nuclear strike? Then, moments later, it happened. A metal beast slammed onto the runway with a thunderous impact. On its wings, a red star, a Soviet aircraft. The MiG-25 Foxbat, one of the most powerful and mysterious warplanes ever built. And when the cockpit finally opened, the pilot stepped out and said something no one expected. I want to be free. But the real question is why? Why would a Soviet officer risk everything and escape with one of the most secret military assets of his country? Was it just about freedom, or was it something deeper? A final act of defiance against a system that was already breaking from within. In today's story, this is not just about a theft. It is something more, something deeper, a truth that even the CIA did not expect. Why would a loyal Soviet pilot abandon everything, his country, his mission, even his family, for a plan that could cost him his life? And here is the real twist. The most shocking part was not the escape. It was what came after, what the West discovered when they saw the aircraft, something that would change everything, even America's future. So stay with me, because this story is just beginning. Early 1970s. The Cold War was at its peak. This was not just a political conflict. It was something else, a race of technology, of power, a silent war between two giants. And then something happened. American spy satellites captured something unusual deep inside the Soviet Union. An image that changed everything. Something the Pentagon was not prepared for. And when the generals saw it, they couldn't sleep. The aircraft seen on radar was unlike anything before. Massive wings, twin engines, built for speed, for power. The Pentagon made a conclusion. The Soviets had built a super fighter, one that could destroy any aircraft in the sky in seconds. And then the fear became real over Israel. One day, a MiG-25 appeared on radar. Israeli fighters took off immediately with 4 Phantoms, their best, moving in to intercept. But the MiG-25 did something unexpected. It accelerated faster and faster, reaching speeds over Mach 3. The pilots could not believe it. They fired missiles, but it was too late. The aircraft was already gone. Too fast to catch, too fast to hit. And just like that, in the eyes of the West, it became something else. An unstoppable machine, an untouchable beast. The United States and NATO wanted this machine in their hands, but Soviet security was iron, unbreakable. Taking even a single part was impossible, as long as you only see your enemy's weapon from a distance. It becomes more terrifying than reality, and at the center of that fear stood one man, Viktor Belenko. He knew something no one else could prove, that this aircraft was not what the world believed. It was something else, a symbol of a dangerous illusion, and he knew the only way to reveal the truth was to take the risk. Flight Lieutenant Viktor Belenko, an elite pilot of the Soviet Air Defense Force, one of the best, trusted by the Kremlin itself, trusted enough to fly the MiG-25, their most powerful weapon. But beneath the uniform and the medals, there was something else. Anger growing quietly. The Soviet system told the world a story that socialism was perfect, a place where everyone was equal. But Belenko had seen the truth up close, the cracks beneath the surface, and in his mind, questions began to form. Not one, not two, but three questions that would change everything, turning him not into a traitor, but something else, a rebel. The first question was about freedom, personal freedom. He wanted a world where people could speak without fear. But in the Soviet system, loyalty mattered more than talent. And for a skilled pilot, that was unacceptable. The second was about corruption, not hidden but everywhere. Senior officers living in comfort, while ordinary soldiers survived on poor food in dirty barracks. A system built on hypocrisy, and he could see it clearly. And the third was about life itself, the right to live better. In his country, even basic things were a struggle. Bread, milk, hours of waiting just to survive. And in that moment, he realized something. The system he was risking his life for was not real. It was a story, a lie hidden behind propaganda, trapped between frustration and a dark future. Belenko made a decision, a dangerous one. He did not just want to escape. He wanted to strike back, hard enough to shake the Kremlin itself. He understood something. Escaping alone would mean nothing. Just another defector, forgotten. But if he took the MiG-25 with him, everything would change. Its value would be immeasurable. Not just an aircraft, but a symbol, a direct blow to Soviet power, their pride, their illusion. September 6th, 1976. It could have been just another day, but Belenko knew the truth. This might be his last. Before takeoff, he looked back at his wife, at his child. One last time, he said nothing, because one word, one mistake meant death. A firing squad, and then he took off into the sky. During the training flight, something changed. Suddenly, he altered his course without warning, and to escape Soviet radar, he did something unthinkable. He dropped lower and lower until the aircraft was flying just 100 feet above the sea. Just imagine flying a massive metal machine, faster than sound, just above the ocean, waves rising beneath you. No margin for error, not even an inch. One mistake, one wrong move, and it's over. In an instant, gone beneath the water. When Soviet command realized what was happening, panic took over. Interceptor jets launched immediately. tearing through the sky. The order was clear: bring it back or destroy it in the air at any cost. This technology must not fall into enemy hands. But Belenko was gone, hidden between clouds and sea, invisible for now, because the danger was not over. It was getting closer. The engines were consuming fuel fast, too fast. The gauge was dropping near zero, and then, through the fog, something appeared. A runway. Hakodate Airport, Japan. The runway was too short for a machine like the MiG-25. Landing here was almost impossible, but Belenko had no choice. Only two options: crash into the ground or explode in the air. And then he made his move, defying death one last time. The aircraft slammed onto the runway, metal screaming, sparks flying, and somehow it stopped alive. In that moment, the world did not realize what had just happened, but history had changed. For the CIA, it was a gift, a perfect one. For the Soviet Union, it was something else, a humiliation they could never hide. When the aircraft finally stopped on the runway, there was almost nothing left. Fuel for just 30 seconds. That was it. Belenko had planned to refuel and fly again toward an American base, but the situation changed everything. He stepped out of the aircraft and made a request: political asylum. In that moment, the story was no longer about one man. It became something bigger. A global conflict, a diplomatic battle. The Soviet Union demanded the aircraft back, immediately threatening Japan with consequences. But Japan was not alone. Behind them stood the United States. Within days, the CIA arrived, along with American engineers, the best. The aircraft was moved quickly to a secure base, away from danger, away from Soviet reach. And then the process began. Piece by piece, they took it apart, studying every detail, every system, every secret. And what they found changed everything. The aircraft they feared was not what they imagined. Not a titanium super fighter, not a technological marvel, but something else. Built from steel, simple, heavy, and inside, no advanced electronics, no modern chips, only old vacuum tubes. In that moment, the illusion collapsed. The Americans realized something. They had been wrong. Completely. The Soviets had not failed in technology. They had chosen a different path. No fragile electronics, no complex systems. Only something stronger, something more resilient. A design that could survive even a nuclear blast, even an EMP, while others would go blind. This aircraft would still fly, and in that moment, everything became clear. This was not just engineering, it was strategy, and in the end, it was one man, one decision, one desire for freedom that placed one of the most secret military technologies into American hands. That single act changed everything. Belenko's decision pushed the Soviet Union back by years, nearly a decade, because now the secrets were no longer hidden. The MiG-25 had been exposed completely. The Americans understood it, every system, every weakness. And that meant one thing. Moscow had to start over. Their radar systems, their missile designs, everything had to be rebuilt. Months later, it was over. Japan returned the aircraft, but not as it was. It had been taken apart, piece by piece, hundreds of components, packed into 13 large crates, sent back to the Soviet Union. And that was not all. Japan demanded compensation for the damage, for the violation of its airspace. A bill handed directly to Moscow. In that moment, it was clear this was not just a loss. It was humiliation, one of the darkest moments in Soviet military history. But what about Viktor Belenko? Did he win? In one sense, yes. He found a new life in America. He gained citizenship, worked as a consultant for the CIA-free. But freedom has a cost, and his was heavy. He never saw his wife again, never saw his child, not once. Back home, he was judged in his absence, labeled a traitor, and sentenced to death. In 2023, Viktor Belenko died. And when we look back at this story, we often see the headlines, the defection, the aircraft, the secrets. But behind it all, there was something else: silence, loneliness. A man who left behind his country, even his language. He found safety, yes, but he never found his way back to the life he once knew. So the question remains, who was he? A hero searching for truth and freedom, or a traitor who risked everything for himself? The answer is yours. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if this story made you think, don't forget to like and subscribe for more hidden stories from history. Until next time, stay curious.